Kiss me till I'm in a coma. Hug me, honey, snugly bunny. Love's as good as summer.
Well, you seem very pleased with yourself.
I am pleased, Fanny. Bernard rang up half an hour ago and asked me if I'd take the Savage to the Feelies this evening.
Which one, the Alhambra? The assistant predestinator says it's absolutely marvellous. A gigantic Negro ravishes a lovely young Beta Plus blonde, keeps her for 3 weeks all to himself in a helicopter. It's wildly antisocial. And you're taking the Savage. You are a lucky girl, Lenina.
I know. I'm getting invitations to absolutely everywhere. It's wonderful, of course. And yet, in a way, I feel as though I were getting something on false pretenses.
What do you mean?
Well, the first thing they all want to know is what it's like to make love to a savage. And I have to say I don't know.
Lenina!
Honestly, it's true. I wish it weren't.
Oh.
He's terribly good looking, don't you think so?
But doesn't he like you?
Sometimes I think he does, and sometimes I think he doesn't. He always does his best to avoid me, goes out of the room when I come in, won't touch me, won't even look at me. But sometimes if I turn round suddenly, I catch him staring, and then, well, you know how men look when they like you.
Yes, I know.
I can't make it out, Fanny. It's all rather upsetting, because, you see, I like him.
Well, you'll have a real chance at the Feelies tonight.
Yes. Hug me, honey, snugly bunny. Love's as good as summer. Hug me till you drug me, honey. Kiss me till I'm in a coma. Hug me, honey, snugly bunny. Love's as good as summer.
John, take hold of those metal knobs on the arms of your chair. Otherwise you won't get any of the feely effects. Go on.
All right. Lenina, I don't think you ought to see things like this.
Things like what, John?
Like this horrible film.
Horrible. I think it's lovely.
It's base, it's ignoble.
Shh, John, please. Honestly, I don't know what you mean. Why do you want to spoil things? There's no need to be shy. I mean, you're terribly good looking, and any other man would have...
Lenina, I can't stay and watch this.
John, where are you going? Come back. Will you please be quiet?
Look, everybody's here. They're all waiting for you. Come out and have some soma.
No, I will not take that stuff. Go away.
But I've asked them on purpose to meet you, John. You know perfectly well.
Then you ought to have asked me first.
John! John, you've always come before.
That is precisely why I don't want to come again.
Oh, John, just to please me. Well, why wouldn't you come to please me?
No.
Do you seriously mean it? John!
Yes!
But the Arch-Community Songster of Canterbury's here tonight. What am I going to do?
Go to hell!
Frankly, I resent having been tricked. Yes, tricked by this insignificant fellow with his heretical opinions. Play such a joke on me,
Oh, yes, Arch Songster, it really is too bad. It may interest you to know that our ex-director was on the point of transferring him to Iceland.
Not far enough, I'd say.
False pretenses, I'd call it. It's a bitten pick. When I think that I might actually have been had by a wretched little man who's had alcohol poured in his bottle by mistake.
Yes, it's absolutely true about the alcohol. Someone I know knew someone who was working in the embryo store at the time. She said to my friend, and my friend said...
A creature with a gamma minus physique. It's an outrage.
Arch Songster, I'm terribly sorry. I'm really frightfully... please, sit down. I have another carotene sandwich. Oh, this is awful. Look, he'll be here any moment, I promise. He's just a little... Oh, Ford.
Mr. Marks, please. I think perhaps the time has come for me to leave.
Oh, must you really, Art Songster? It's very early still. I'd hope you'd... I'd so much hope that...
Mr. Marks, let me give you a word of advice before it's too late. A word of good advice. Mend your ways, my young friend. Mend your ways. Now, Miss Keat.
Arch Songster?
May I escort you home?
Yes, please. Well, that's the last time I come here.
Yes, I always knew that Marks was a queer fish.
Alcohol in the blood surrogate, what do you expect?
You know, Bernard, you're more like you were at Malpais. Remember, when we first talked together, outside the little house, when you told me how terribly alone you were. You're like you were then.
Because I'm unhappy again, that's why.
Well, I'd rather be unhappy than have the sort of false, lying happiness you've been having here.
Well, I like that. When it's you who are the cause of it all. Refusing to come down to my party and turning them all against me.
And what sort of friends are there that can turn into enemies on so slight a provocation?
Yes. You're right. I think I'll go and see Helmholtz tomorrow. He's probably the only friend I have left.
May I come with you?
I'm in a bit of trouble, Bernard. You too? It was over some rhymes. Yeah, I was given my usual course of advanced emotional engineering for third-year students. On the use of rhymes in moral propaganda and advertisement, to be precise. Well, this time I thought I'd give them a rhyme I'd just written myself. Pure madness, of course, but I couldn't resist it. What an outcry there was. The principal had me up and threatened to hand me the immediate sack. I'm a marked man, Bernard.
Tell me, what were your rhymes? I'm most interested.
Are you really?
Yes.
Oh. Shut lips, sleeping faces, every stopped machine, the dumb and littered places where crowds have been. It was about being alone, I suppose.
Oh, Ford.
Well, what's wrong with being alone?
It's flatly against all their sleep teaching, that's what. I mean, they'll have had at least 250,000 warnings against solitude.
Yes. But I just thought I'd like to see what the effect would be.
Well, you've seen now.
Anyway, I feel as though I was just beginning to have something to write about, as though I were beginning to be able to use that power I've got inside me, that latent extra power. Something seems to be coming to me. Do you understand?
I do. Have you read Shakespeare?
Me? No.
Romeo and Juliet. Here.
Hello, Nina. Like to come to Ophelia this evening?
No, thank you, Henry.
Going out with someone else?
No.
You're not feeling ill, are you?
No.
You know, you ought to go and see the doctor. Perhaps you need a pregnancy substitute. Or else an extra strong VPS treatment. I mean, sometimes the standard passion surrogate isn't quite
For
enough.
Ford's sake, shut up, shut up.
Lenina, it's absurd to let yourself get into a state like this. Simply absurd. And what about? A man, one man.
But Fanny, he's the one I want.
As though there weren't millions of other men in the world.
But I don't want them.
How can you know till you've tried?
I have tried.
How many? 1, 2?
No, dozens. But it wasn't any good.
Lenina, you must persevere. Nothing can be achieved without perseverance.
But meanwhile...
Don't think of him.
I can't help it.
Take more Soma then.
Fanny, I do.
Well, go on.
But in the intervals, I still like him. I shall always like him.
Well, if that's the case, why don't you just go and take him, whether he wants it or no?
But if you knew how terribly strange he was...
All the more reason for taking a firm line.
It's all very well to say that.
Lenina, don't stand any nonsense. Act. Yes, act at once. Do it now.
I'd be scared.
Well, you've only got to take 0.5 gram of Soma first. Anyway, I'm going to have my shower.
Oh, yes. That scene in Capulet's orchard, the lovers' first meeting. How did it go? But soft, what light through yonder window breaks. It is the east, and Juliet is